Now, when Drake came, he gave you bad news. Tell me how that went. Like, he was like, man.
Like that. You know good and well that you don't want a problem like that. You gon' make someone around me catch a body like that. No.
I have a very, very, very terrible memory, and I swear to God, I don't know what y'all talking about.
If we talking about the numbers, man, it look like 700. They know.
You might have never heard the names Lil Wayne and Drake mentioned together lately, even though they once ran the rap game side by side. What many don't know is there's a deep reason behind their silence, a story rooted in betrayal and broken trust. And that reason explains exactly how Lil Wayne lost the Drake bag. When Jazz Prince first brought Drake's music to Lil Wayne, it wasn't just another mixtape being passed around. Wayne heard something different in the sound, something sharper than the rest of the noise flooding the industry at the time. He later said he saw way more than just potential, and that single judgment call flipped the course of rap history. It didn't take long before Drake signed with Young Money, and suddenly the roster looked untouchable. Lil Wayne at the top, Nicki Minaj exploding with star power, and Drake stepping in as the hungry newcomer who sounded like nobody else. They weren't just a label, they were the holy trinity of 2010s hip-hop. Everywhere you looked, they dominated.
I almost guarantee she know the deal. What's up?
Now she want a photo. You already know though. You only live once. That's the motto. Nigga, yellow. We bout it every day.
Wayne and Drake shared the kind of bond people described as a brotherhood, while Nicki's closeness to Drake had fans whispering about whether or not their connection went beyond music. At this point, Wayne was sitting on his golden bag. He had the hottest talent in the game under his own wing. But every empire has cracks, and for Wayne, the first fracture came at the worst possible moment. In 2010, he was sentenced to a year at Rikers Island on a gun charge. At the exact same time, Drake's star was exploding. He was going from mixtape buzz to worldwide attention, climbing fast, while Wayne was forced to watch from a cell. For Young Money, this was the moment Drake should have been holding down the legacy for his mentor. Instead, it turned into the story Wayne never wanted written. The controversy centered around Tammy Torres, Wayne's girlfriend at the time. While Wayne was locked up, the whispers started. Drake had hooked up with her. It wasn't just a rumor in the streets, it got back to Wayne directly. The story goes that Drake even visited him in jail and came clean, telling him he had already slept with Tammy. That wasn't just a betrayal of loyalty, it was Drake walking into Rikers and telling Wayne to step aside.
There's a part in the book where you say that he came in and told you that he had smashed one of your girls.
Oh, when he wrapped up? Oh, I wasn't worried about that.
When Lil Wayne finally addressed the Drake and Tammy Torres scandal in public, the way he framed it shocked people almost as much as the story itself. Sitting in front of cameras, he didn't lash out or dwell on betrayal. Instead, his response was a short, almost casual dismissal, as if the whole matter didn't deserve another second of his energy.
No.
No.
She still be texting me and stuff, you know. They stop texting me too.
On the surface, it looked like Wayne had decided not to drag the situation out, not defeating the gossip that could overshadow his career. But those words didn't erase what he had already put on paper. In a book proposal sent to publishers, leaked by TMZ the same year, Wayne described hearing Drake confess to sleeping with Tammy while he was in Rikers Island in 2010. He wrote, "Finding out she messed with Drake was the absolute worst thing I could have ever found out. This is the type of ish a man never wants to find out when he's locked up. Or maybe so, because only God knows what I would have done if I wasn't locked up." The contrast was glaring. On camera, Wayne was calm and nonchalant. On the page, he admitted the news had cut him to the core. That split between what he showed in public and what he revealed privately tells you exactly how much damage was really done. Even Tammy Torres herself kept the wound open. In a 2012 interview, when pressed about whether she was the woman Wayne referenced in his unpublished book, she didn't deny it. She told the host that if Wayne ever decided to come out with whatever, she would have to tell the real story.
But it would be at a better time, not right now.
Is there anything you can tell us? Do you prefer the company of Drake over Lil Wayne or Lil Wayne over Drake?
That would be the story that we would talk about. We would get more in detail.
Her choice of words was deliberate. She teased that there was more to reveal, but not at that time. She left fans with the impression that the scandal was deeper than one betrayal, and the truth had never been fully exposed. The fact that Tammy dangled her version of events without spilling them kept the speculation alive for years. Behind the curtain, the trust between Wayne and Drake was fractured. Wayne might have chosen to play it cool in interviews, but trust is the glue of any mentor-protege bond, and once it breaks, it doesn't reset. That single act, Drake admitting in Rikers that he'd already been with Tammy, planted a seed that would follow their relationship forever. From that point on, Wayne could still work with Drake, still praise him publicly, but there was always a crack running through the foundation. What makes the story even sharper is how Wayne and Nicki Minaj treated Drake afterward. Despite the scandal, they never turned their backs on him publicly. They held their silence, even as whispers about the betrayal floated through blogs and forums. In fact, their actions often leaned the other way, defending Drake when the rest of the industry came for him. The clearest example came during the infamous Drake vs. Pusha T beef in 2018. On May 5, 2018, Pusha T released Infrared as part of his Daytona album. The track took direct aim at Drake with the line, "It was written like Nas, but it came from Quentin."
The bigger question is how the Russians did it. It was written like Nas, but it came from Quentin.
This was a blunt accusation of ghostwriting, pointing straight at Quentin Miller, who had been credited for work on Drake's 2015 mixtape, If You're Reading This, It's Too Late. In that moment, the rap world piled on Drake. Ghostwriting was a cardinal sin in hip-hop, and Pusha's diss looked like the smoking gun. Nicki didn't hesitate. Within hours, she jumped on Twitter to back Drake. On May 25, 2018, she posted, "Gonna run that Quentin shit into the ground like Drake didn't write for himself and others. Your enemies will remix, reinvent, and try to make you relive some old ish for years to come when they have nothing on you. Knock it off. Challenging the chosen ones only awakens the sleeping giant." That wasn't just defense, that was firepower. Nicki used her platform to push back against one of the most damaging accusations Drake had ever faced, putting her reputation on the line for him. Wayne's loyalty played out differently, but just as consistently. He never joined in when people went at Drake, even when it would have been easier to distance himself. Instead, he repeatedly named Drake as one of his favorite collaborators in interviews. In one appearance, when asked to name the artist he most enjoyed working with, Wayne couldn't narrow it down to one, but still called Drake my favorite person to work with. And went further, hyping him as the GOAT. These were not casual compliments. Wayne went out of his way to reinforce Drake's position in the rap hierarchy, keeping him protected under the Young Money banner. But Drake's side of the loyalty equation didn't mirror theirs. While Wayne and Nicki consistently protected him, Drake's moves told a different story. In 2020, Nicki and Meek Mill were locked in a bitter social media war after their breakup. Nicki used her Instagram stories to suggest Meek had physically abused her, writing that he beats women but is scared of men. The same year, Meek's former associate, known as Dean, gave his own account, claiming he had witnessed Meek spit on Nicki during a fight, and even described an incident where Meek locked her out of their residence in New Jersey, leaving her stranded outside in the woods. With allegations this serious, you'd expect Drake, who had spent years calling Nicki his sister and the love of his life in songs, to step back from Meek completely. Instead, Drake reconciled with Meek. After years of their own feud, the two patched things up publicly in September 2018, performing together in Boston. By 2020, they were releasing collaborations again, including the single Going Bad. For Nicki, who had put her own reputation on the line to defend Drake in 2018, this was a slap in the face. The same man she accused of mistreating her was now being embraced by Drake, her longtime friend and label mate. And it wasn't just Meek. Drake also aligned himself with artists Nicki openly clashed with. In 2023, he released a collaboration with Latto, one of the newer rappers who had been positioned as Nicki's rival in the female rap scene. This wasn't an accident. Drake knew exactly how Nicki and Latto's fan bases were clashing online. By putting Latto on his side, Drake sent a quiet but clear message that Nicki's loyalty didn't guarantee his in return. Even Wayne wasn't immune from indirect slights. Kendrick Lamar's diss record, Not Like Us, in May 2024, reignited the old Tammy Torres scandal by reminding fans Drake had slept with Wayne's girl.
Thorny, down, get polished. Wayne girl, he was in jail, that's conniving. Then get his face tatted like a bitch apologizing. I'm glad D-Rose came home, y'all didn't deserve him neither.
Instead of taking a hard stance against Kendrick, Drake had to swallow the fact that Wayne's own DJ played Not Like Us at a Wayne concert in Tacoma in 2024. At the same time, Wayne was photographed wearing an XO chain gifted by The Weeknd, one of Drake's fiercest rivals. Drake might not have been directly shaded by Wayne in interviews, but those actions carried weight. That's the divide in plain view. On one side, Wayne and Nicki repeatedly took bullets for Drake, defending him when the industry attacked, holding their tongues when they could have exposed him, and calling him family in public. On the other, Drake cozied up to Nicki's rivals, linked arms with Meek Mill after abuse allegations, and let his moves suggest that loyalty was negotiable. The imbalance was obvious. Wayne and Nicki gave loyalty, but Drake didn't give it back. By then, the conversation had shifted. Drake wasn't being dragged just for industry beefs, but for the way he'd managed and lost the people who once had his back the most. But what do you think about all this? Did Drake cross the line with the people who built him up, or are Wayne and Nicki just finally done carrying him? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to know where you stand.